All right, guys, what's going on? NBA slate, NFL slate tonight. Um, we have some good games going on tonight. We have the NBA slate of Miami versus Brooklyn, and we also have the Golden State Warriors versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. We are going to get into that here in just a minute. But if you guys are new here, make sure you all like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. All right, guys. So we are here to discuss the NBA slate tonight for the Golden State Warriors versus Oklahoma City and the Miami Heat versus the um, Brooklyn Nets. If you guys are new here, as I said before, make sure y'all like and subscribe to this video afterwards. That I would greatly appreciate it. I am going to go ahead and cancel out the live stream that's scheduled currently now so people can come on over here and get it going. I do want to make sure that that will be on that down or get that down. Anyways, okay. So I do want to make sure that I get the link out there, the correct link. So I am going to do that as well. Let me go ahead and get that out here real quick on Twitter. Give me just a moment here, guys. And then we will get right into the NBA slate. Today, we will see what the exposures are looking like afterward. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and quote tweet this. And okay. So first order of business, we will discuss the Brooklyn Nets versus the Miami Heat. Opening lines for this game, I believe were favored towards Miami. I believe by 4.5 points. I don't think they have stayed there. I still think Miami is favored in this game. I just don't think it's by much. I got to look at this again just to be sure. I just got home from work too, so I'm kind of scrambling here a little bit. So yeah, Miami right now is 3.5 favored. I want to say, yeah. So Miami's favored by 3.5. Money line minus 160. They were minus 180. So the odds have gone down a little bit thus far. I will go ahead and share my screen with you guys here. Let me get it up here real quick. We're going to go ahead and go entire screen so you guys can see what's happening here. All right. So as you can see, we have our projections here. We're going to give it a refresh here because I haven't given it a refresh since last night. Whenever I was doing my drafts, projections for the day. This is kind of what we're projecting it as. Like I said, 2-game slate. This is kind of the guys we're looking to get into our lineups today. You might see Clay is a little bit lower than what I would like him to be. I do understand why he is lower, just because he hasn't played nearly as well. Chris Paul up here really high, Dario really high. These have been the two main guys for Golden State so far. And I actually kind of like the Dario play. You'll see it from my exposures that the Dario play tonight for me feels good. I do really like the Dario play. It's something that I feel like I'm not going to say he's going to go off necessarily, but for a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick, he was a guy that I feel like was a really good value for the slate. So that really helped me in projecting him where he is. Same thing goes for Duncan Robinson. He was like a 5th round pick. He's projected better than Wiggins, Dort, Kyle Lowry, Kuminga. I don't have hardly any Kuminga. Caleb Martin, which Caleb Martin somehow has increased his projection a little bit ahead of Jaime and Josh Richardson. I'm not much of a Caleb Martin stan tonight. I think, give him a couple games and then I can get on his tail. But like until then, I don't know that Caleb Martin's going to be playing more than 20 minutes tonight. Just because it is his first game back. So that is a little bit tough as far as Caleb Martin is concerned. I'm not a huge Caleb Martin stan tonight, but here in a couple games, I think I'll be on him and talking him up quite a bit. Does have him listed as a shooting guard, small forward. So that will kind of be interesting to see if he does end up taking Josh Richardson's spot a little bit more, cutting into his playing time. We'll see. I mean, it's interesting to see that. Like I said, Nick Claxton was another guy that the projections showed really well that I'm just not on. I don't trust him yet. I don't like the matchup either against Bam. 29 minutes per game. He only got 20 last game, so that's kind of nice to see that he probably will be playing a lot of minutes tonight because it will be a close game. But on the other hand, I just don't know that he's better than Bam Adebayo, and I think he's got a tougher matchup than a lot of the other guys on the slate. Jalen Williams, I tried to get his ownership up a little bit more, as I think I was a little bit underwhelmed of him to begin the slate, and I was taking more Chris Paul. I was getting a lot of Shai Gilgeous today. So that is one thing that you'll see in my exposures. I did get a lot of Shai Gilgeous today. I was on a lot of Cam Johnson today. I like Cam Johnson a lot tonight. I was also a lot of Kevon Looney, a lot of Clay, a lot of Dinwiddie. Not really a lot of Dinwiddie, I lied. But a lot of Cam Johnson, a lot of Looney, and a lot of Saric is what a lot of my projections are showing as good plays. Sometimes I got Jalen Williams, sometimes I got Giddey, sometimes I went down here and got Dinwiddie. I tried to switch it up a little bit because I got so much Shai Gilgeous that I could switch it up when I wanted to. I know I have a team of Mikal Bridges and Shai Gilgeous. I know I have a Shai Gilgeous and Chris Paul, a few Shai Gilgeous and Chris Paul teams. I know I have Shai Gilgeous, Dario, Claxton mixed in. There's a lot of different varieties here. So we're going to go over here and look at what we got going for us here as far as drafts go. We did end up with 129 drafts. So one of these got pulled. I don't know. I think one of these did. I don't know which one did, unfortunately. That kind of sucks. I'm hoping it wasn't my Shai Gilgeous and Shai Gilgeous and Mikal Bridges. I'm going to see if I can find that team real quick because it might have been that team. And if it was, I'm going to be so upset because that was the only time I ever got those two together. Holmgren, Bridges. Nope, it wasn't that team. Okay. So it wasn't that team. So that's good at the very least. I don't know which team got yanked. It is what it is at the end of the day. We still have some good projection lineups here. I don't really pay much attention to the projection part, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So we are going to kind of generate our exposures here, our teams. I'm going to kind of break them down here a little bit, and we're going to kind of go over this a little bit as we're waiting for this to generate. If you guys haven't used this tool already, it was dropped in the Badge Bros Discord. If you guys haven't joined that Discord, I can give you guys a link. Just DM me on Twitter, and we can get you in there because it is a good Discord. There's a lot of good guys in there. Shout out to the Badge Bros. Good Discord. Good group of guys. So, yeah, while this is generating all my exposures for the Thursday night hoops, like I said, this is a tool that somebody dropped in that chat. I'm kind of letting it do its thing right now. Let's talk about the games. Like I said, Brooklyn, Heat's favored tonight. I am a Miami Heat fan, so my opinion might be a little bit skewed, but it is what it is. I'm going to try to give it a very skewed opinion type. So Jimmy Butler played really well last game. Jimmy Butler played well because it was a play-in tournament game. I don't know that he's going to play that well tonight, but at the end of the day, we still have Bam Adebayo. We have Caleb Martin coming back. We do have a lot of pieces still that are playing well. Jaime Jaquez is playing really well. Lowry really hasn't done a whole lot. Haywood Highsmith is playing really well. He's playing at a high level. You got a lot of guys here that you can look at and say are playing really well. Now, Josh Richardson is the guy that I'm a little bit concerned about with minutes as far as how many he's going to get tonight. I don't know that he's going to get that many just because of Caleb Martin. We'll see. Duncan Robinson is another guy for Miami that's been absolutely playing out of his mind, which it's not even just shooting the ball for him. He's finished well around the rim. He has good cuts on offense. His defense has been mediocre still, but average defense for him is really, really good. So I'm happy with that. And as far as Brooklyn goes, I think we could start talking about like, no Ben Simmons tonight. That hurts a little bit. There also is no Cam Thomas tonight for the Brooklyn Nets. So there is quite a bit of injuries that are pretty crucial to the Nets as far as that goes, which is something that people I don't believe are taking into much consideration. Obviously, Mikal Bridges is going to be the guy who is scoring the ball quite a bit along with Dinwiddie tonight. I think Cam Thomas is another guy that we could see scoring the ball, could have 20 to 30 points tonight, somewhere in that range. That's why he's probably my most owned player if I had to put a guess on it. But I do like to do this just so I know what I have. So this is kind of what I have team makeup wise in this contest. As you can see, a lot of Cam Johnson, a lot of Jalen Williams, a lot of Mikal Bridges here. And you can see like I'm getting a bunch of different exposures to different people on different like teams. So I'm trying to figure out, if there's anything like repeating itself, um, anything of that nature. I'm going to get rid of this right here. Go ahead and delete this. And we are going to insert, actually, no, I want that back name. And then we're going to go ahead and filter this. I want to see what we got here. I want to go A to Z. All right, so these are all my Bam Adebayo teams. As you can see, we tried to start them different if we could. If not, obviously we didn't. So, that's a lot of what this is a lot of not trying to duplicate rosters, because roster construction is so important. Like, here's one that's Bam, Claxton, Chet, Bam, Chet, Claxton. This one has Looney instead, Saric, Jaquez, Kyle, Royce, Brandon. So, like, that's what I'm trying to do, is make my rosters different enough to where I'm not having to take this Chet Holmgren first round, and feel like I'm blocked out necessarily. Chris Paul, I took him first round sometimes. Followed it up with Mikal Bridges a lot because I wanted to get my Mikal Bridges exposures up. So if Mikal Bridges is doing good, I'm hoping Chris Paul is doing really well. In the late game tonight, Jimmy Butler, I have a lot of Jimmy Butler, Chet Holmgren starts, but they're, like you can see here, a lot of them are different. Chet, Dario, Chet, Jalen, Chet, Clay, Chet, Dinwiddie, Chet, Cam, Chet, Clay, Chet, Giddey, Chet, Dario, Chet, Cam, Chet, Cam. So like there's a lot of different stuff going on here with Jimmy. Jimmy's a guy that I went through, and I had a lot of like late round guys where I was like, okay, I'm going to take Cason Wallace. I'm going to take Gary Payton some. I took Drew Smith once. Just to get a little different than the field, if something were to pop off, that's amazing. Here's my Shea Gilgeous teams. Out of 110 teams, we end up with 36 shares of Shea Gilgeous. That's pretty freaking good, considering he is the 101, and that's pretty much the only way you were getting Shea Gilgeous. So my Shea Gilgeous shares are kind of massive here. You can see that we had some Clay, we had some Giddey, we had some Claxton, we had some Saric, we had some Cam Johnson, we had some Dinwiddies, we had some Clays. We had everything. We even had a Mikal Bridges one here, which is really nice. At one point, we did have a Shea and Chet, which is right here. I found that, Shea and Chet. So we did get that at least once. We might have got it twice. I'm not sure if we got it twice. Let me look real quick here. I don't know that we got it twice, but I know we got it once. Let's see. Is he in any of these columns? I don't think so. I don't see Chet in any of these columns other than the one. So a lot of these are Claxton, Giddey, Jalen Williams, Cam Johnson, Klay Thompson, that kind of thing. I thought that I had Shea Gilgeous and Chris Paul. Yeah, okay. So I have a Shea Paul, Chris Paul team. I thought I had more than one, but I guess I only have it once. I really thought I had it more than once, though. but it is what it is. So that's kind of what the slate's looking like tonight. Um, Late night game. I anticipate the Thunder to actually beat the Warriors by quite a bit. I'm going to show you guys my overall exposures before I get into this too terribly much. So we had 39% Cam Johnson, 37, almost 38% Dario, Kevon Looney rounds out our top 3 drafted. We have Lowry, Duncan, Shea, Bam, Jaime, Brandon Podzim, I don't know how to say his last name. Podzimski, Chet, Chris Paul, and we kind of start getting below the field here. So the guys that are above the field are Chet, Brandon, Jaime, Bam, Shea, Duncan, Lowry, Looney, Dario, and Cam Johnson. Guys below the field are just right at the field. Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Nick Claxton, Andrew Wiggins. That's kind of the guys that are at the field. Below the field, I would say, you start looking at these guys and you're kind of getting below the field here. I kind of wish we got a little bit more Jalen Williams, but it is what it is. We did get some Cason Wallace at the end, so we do have a little bit more of him than, I did have. Drew Smith, we even took one share of him and one share of Lonnie Walker just to make sure that we have a lot of our bases covered. We can go in and just look at Thursday night hoops and get the percentages here for just the main slate. So this is just the main slate. I did end up, like I said, with a lot of Shea Gilgeous teams. 34% of my teams are Shea Gilgeous. 29% basically of my teams are Bam Adebayo and Jaime Duncan. Lowry at 31.5%, Shea at 34%, Dario at 36%, Levon Looney at 38%, Cam Johnson over 40%. So we do like Cam Johnson, like I said, a lot tonight. We'll see what happens. I mean, it is what it is. Chris Paul, Chet, Nick Claxton, Andrew Wiggins, Klay. I kind of wish I had a little bit more Klay, but it is what it is. Because in the buzzer beater, if we go to the buzzer beater, Sarkic, Mikal Bridges, we have a lot of Mikal Bridges, Sarkic, Duncan, Bam, Lowry, Klay. We have a lot of Klay in the buzzer beater. The 6-man show, we do have a lot of Lowry, a lot of Duncan, Bam, Sarkic, Jaime, Looney, Brandon, Jimmy, Giddey, Spencer, Michael, Chet. We don't really have a lot of Klay in this one. We do have him in one, but it is what it is. Like I said, the buzzer beater, we got a lot of Klay. So if Klay does well, the buzzer beater should do well for the most part, I would think. A lot of Miami guys, like to do the rotation. It's what Miami's known for. So that is that. That's kind of the NBA slate tonight. Not a very big one. Tomorrow's kind of the bigger one of the two. So let's go to the NBA slates. Or NBA slates. Football slates. Football tonight, we have the Ravens versus Bengals. No T. Higgins tonight for the Bengals, unfortunately. I believe it is a hamstring issue. I'm not entirely sure. But I am kind of sad about that because I kind of needed him in some leagues this week. But it is what it is. We do have some picks for it. I don't think this is going to be a big offensive game, but it is correlated. If you are going to make a correlation slip like this, I would strongly advise you to make it correlated like this if you're going to make a 5-legger. But if you're not, you can kind of bounce around a little bit and do what you need to do. We tailed some people. Keaton Mitchell, 36.5 rushing yards. This guy seems to be getting more and more work every week. The Ravens like to run the ball, so there's that. Joe Burrow, 37.5 passing attempts. Jamar Chase, 79.5 receiving yards. Like I said, if you're going to do the correlation slips, you got to choose one game script or the other, positive or negative. Can't hear you? Oh, man. You got to turn it up because I can definitely hear myself. Turn up your volume. Okay, cool. Anyways, moving on. Lamar Jackson, 8.5 rushing attempts. Tyler Boyd, 45.5. Obviously, I said no T. Higgins. So that's kind of why that is what it is. And I threw this in just because the people in the cord were talking about correlation slips are gone. So I just wanted to test that. And they weren't. So I just kind of threw that in there. It's not really a real slip at all. That's why it's only got $1 on it. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking at today. I like Tyler Boyd. I like Joe Mixon, Keaton Mitchell a little bit. Keaton's obviously my twin, as he has the same name as me. So there's that bit of information. This was a correlated play, a plus EV play, as some would like to call it. Lonnie Walker, higher than 12.5 points, rebounds, and assists. As you can see in his last few games here, he has done that 2 of his last 3. And he seems to be hooping right now. I mean, former Miami graduate Miami University, so he's back in Miami. Maybe he hoops, who knows? We'll see. Harrison Smith, this was just a correlated play. I couldn't really tell you much about it. This is for Sunday anyways. And Shea Gilgeous, lower than 5.5 assists. We'll see if that hits. I'm not a firm believer. Like if I were going off my eye test, that's not something that I would typically do. But it is what it is, man. I mean, Jimmy Butler, higher than 5 assists. That line seems very low to me, especially considering what tonight is. It's a 2-game slate. A lot of guys to give the ball to. And Jimmy's probably going to be the guy who's playmaking quite a bit tonight. So we'll see what happens there. Mikal Bridges higher than 5 rebounds. He's done that. He's either matched it or done it in his last 3. So he does get a lot of rebounds. He does end up crashing the boards quite a bit. This is a team rebounding team. So that's kind of what I like about that. Spencer Dinwiddie higher than 14.5 points. Obviously no Cam Thomas. No Ben Simmons. So this the Spencer Dinwiddie play feels like something that was kind of free to me. Moving on, Andrew Wiggins. I tailed this play from Twitter. Andrew Wiggins higher than 5 rebounds. As you can see, he's done that in 2 of his last 3. Andrew Wiggins really doesn't score the ball. Doesn't seem like anymore. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander higher than 1.5 steals. As you can see, he's got 7 steals last game, 2 steals to 2 games before that. I like Shea to get 2 steals tonight. He seems to be kind of a turnover guy. Warriors are shorthanded, so that also would help in the fact that they're playing a worse opponent, in my opinion, as well. So Shea is going to help with that as far as turning the ball over. Jaime Jaquez Jr., higher than 15 points, rebounds, and assists. He has done that 2 of his last 3 games in just points alone. I feel like this guy is a stud. I don't see any way possible they take away his minutes with Caleb Martin coming back. I don't see that being the case. I see Josh Richardson kind of being the oddball out just because he's not the one that's been hooping as well. I just don't see Jaime not getting 30 minutes tonight. Dort, higher than 5.5 rebounds plus assists. He's done that in 2 of his last 3. Obviously, he got very little playing time against San Antonio. If I believe right, it was an absolute blowout. So he probably didn't get to play the 4th quarter, if I had to guess, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's kind of why that play is where it is on my slips. So that's kind of my slips for the night. That's kind of the breakdown for the night. Keeping it short, sweet, to the point, as it is a short slate tonight. 15 minutes till lock. Takeaways, what I would probably be doing now if I were looking at the pick'ems. Well, we can build out a little slate here real quick for football if you guys want. 37.5 passing attempts for Joe Burrow. I really like that. I really, 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 really like this a lot. I could see this being a really high-scoring game. Correlation-wise, I like to bet the lowers just because, I like to go against the grain a little bit on what I think personally, and that's what my correlations tools as well tell me to do. So a lot of my lowers are kind of what hit on these. So if I'm doing a 5-legger, I like the correlation slips there. But I do like the Joe Burrow 37.5 passing attempts taking the over there. Jamar Chase, every time he doesn't have T. Higgins, he hits this line pretty much every single time. I think he averages 120 yards without T. Higgins this year. I feel like this is pretty much a lock. I do really like this line as well. And then we need to go to the other side of the field to get another one. And as I said before, I'm confident in my plays. Lamar Jackson, 8.5 rushing attempts. If we go look at Lamar Jackson in his last 3, it won't show his rushing attempts, but he has hit that in, I believe, 2 of his last 3 games. So Lamar Jackson, I do like that play quite a bit. If you don't believe me in that, there's another play you could take, the 277.5 passing yards plus rushing. I do like that play a lot. I can show you guys that. 277, 221 plus 41. That would be 264. Almost hits it there. He has a really bad game against Seattle, a really bad game against Arizona, but the Arizona game, I believe, if I remember correctly, was a blowout just because of the defense. So I don't think that'll be the case tonight. I think we could say this is going to be a shootout, and this is positively correlated. So this is a slip that I am actually going to go ahead and put $5 on. 1 unit, as I like to call it. So we're going to go ahead and do that on stream. And there you go. So I'll go ahead and tail that one as well. As for NBA tonight, I told you guys already my favorite kind of plays here. Bridges, 5 rebounds. I like it a lot. Dinwiddie, 14.5 points. I like it a lot. Cam Johnson is only 16.5. I think he'll get above this, to be honest with you. But that's not one I'm positive correlating with this game. We go to Jimmy Butler lines. Bam, his line bumped to 11. It was 10.5. I do remember that. I wish it was still 11 or 10.5. I mean, because 11, he's got to get 12 to beat the line, and I'm just not a huge fan of that. Considering, both teams are kind of team rebounding teams, so it kind of hurts his odds there. Lowry, 4.5 assists. I like this a lot. I think this is a play right here that you could do for that Heat Brooklyn game. I am going to go ahead and slap 5 on that as well. And then we're going to go ahead and move down to the Golden State Thunder game. Chet, higher than 15.5 points. I do like that play quite a bit. Shai Gilgeous, 31. That's just such a high line to hit, period, for anybody. It's hard for me to hit Shai lines right now just because they're so high. But I do understand why they're so high, because he typically gets there some way, somehow. So, yeah, I do understand why they're there. Chris Paul, 9.5 assists. I have this play. Also, I really do like this play quite a bit just because Chris Paul is going to have to be a distributor tonight. He's probably going to be on the floor for his 30 minutes, if not more. 36 minutes, that's probably what I'd expect from Chris Paul again tonight, barring an injury, obviously. Wiggins, 4.5 rebounds. I like this play quite a bit. Once again, Wiggins kind of going to have to help with the rebounding department because Kevon Looney's kind of by himself tonight. So that's kind of why I like that play as well. Dario, he's been scoring the ball, getting rebounds. He's been doing quite a bit. You could do Dario if you would like to do it with his points. I'd be okay with that too. But we are going to lock this play in here for 1 unit as well. So there's 3 picks of the stream for each game. We broke down the slate. We broke down the NFL slate. We broke down the NBA slate. Showed you my exposures. That's going to do the stream today. So kept it short, sweet, to the point. Good luck, guys, tonight in your parlays, in your drafts, in your plays, in your straight bets, whatever the case is. Or if you're just straight up rooting for the team, if you're rooting for the Miami Heat, go Heat, obviously. I will be rooting for the Heat. If you're rooting for the Nets, then you can get out of my stream now, and we'll never talk again. No, I'm kidding. I'm kind of rooting for the Thunder against Golden State. Not a big Golden State guy, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you all leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I do appreciate it very, very much. It would help the channel out greatly. That's going to do it for me, guys. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you later in the next one. Peace.